So between the years 1 and 3, which are just always so fun for comedy, do you remember any show that you were excited to do? Maybe it's like you feel like this is a big opportunity. Maybe your family's coming to see you for the first time, and then it just didn't go like you thought because you're so new, you're overly anxious about everything, and sort of that feeling of like, I thought this was going to be a moment for me and now I feel bad. Do you have any shows like that?
Yeah, I mean, there's tons of those. One that comes to mind. So I basically started doing comedy in Toronto. I did a
Hmm.
few shows in where I'm from in Halifax, Nova Scotia, but like basically started in Toronto. Anyways, there was this place called the Rivoli that was amazing. They had shows there every Monday, and that's what you like wanted. All comedians wanted to do this show. It was great, packed house. The way they would get new people onto the show is they would put you on the late show, like the after show for anybody. So there'd be the regular show, and then they'd go, okay, now we're gonna have these new pieces of garbage come out here. So most of the crowd would leave, and I remember doing it. And there was about eight people in this huge room. I got not a laugh, not one thing for 8 minutes. Severely brutal, like not even a noise. I could see candles. I saw candle. Now that I'm thinking about it, I think even the candles stopped moving. They weren't even like flickering anymore. They were just like still fire, bombed mercilessly. And I came off stage, and the host, he came up to me and he goes, "Man, that was bad." And I go, I know, man. It was, and he goes, "This joke was terrible." And he goes, "This thing, I don't even know what you're doing with this." And he really just went through my whole set. So, anyways, I got on the streetcar after that to go back home. I mean, I was in college then, and I just leaned on the window, and I was like, if I could do heroin, I would. This would be the night.
Yeah, if there was ever a night to try this, it would be right now.
Absolutely.
It's almost the same. I've never tried heroin, but I have to think that the sort of sinking feeling after is very similar. Of like, we really are, we can only go up from here, so give me something that gets me out of this, you know?
You mean the reason to do heroin? Like you're so low
Yes,
in
right.
life and how you
Yes.
feel that you're like, let me get out of this piss filled. I mean, heroin seems like the worst one of the drugs. Any movie
Right.
about heroin is literally people sitting in their own piss.
Right.
They're like, let me get out of this. And then they're partying, but then they're back to piss.
Right. It's basically stand-up comedy in a nutshell.
Sure. Yeah. And after that show, I was definitely in piss. It was terrible. And the fact that the host would even tell me how bad it was, um, God, bad. That was year one.
That show could have, it's so funny because like, if you were in another profession and your first day or week or month on the job was that bad, you would probably just go, okay, I mean, obviously accounting is not for me and I don't like working here, and I'll just go do anything else.
Mm.
But what is it even in that first year, and you're sort of the comedic side of you that goes, I guess this is just fine, this is just how life goes now.
I mean, well, we anybody that does stand up, you know how unbelievably fucking. Can I swear here? I can swear
Yeah,
here.
yeah.
We know how unbelievably fucking stupid it is. It's the
Right.
dumbest thing to do with your life. It's absolutely horrendously fucking stupid to write a thing down on a piece of paper and then say it to strange humans that only want you to make them do one noise. It's unbelievably fucking stupid. So anybody who gets in a stand up that thinks it's going to be all smooth, it doesn't go smooth for people that have been doing it 40 years.
Right. Right.
There's so I don't know, you just go, well, that was horrible and I want to do heroin, but I mean, like, I knew this was going to be bad. Of course this was going to be bad.
Yeah, that's good that you know that. I mean, it's obviously a testament to why you're still doing it, I think, because I don't know, I'm sure you've seen the comics. It's like year 3, year 4, year 5, where you go, how's it going? And they go, it's great. And you're like, it's great. They go, yeah, I'm killing all the time. And you go, oh man, I'm not going to see you at the 10-year reunion. You won't be, you will have left the office by the time the next Christmas
Yeah.
party comes around.
Yeah. So and so has left the chat.
Yeah,
The
right.
Yeah, I mean, I remember walking into doing these open mics years and years ago. There was this one place again in Toronto that they always had. It was just a bar, and they always had the TVs on. And this place was you're fighting the crowd, right? People be watching football, and then they'd be like, "We're going to start a comedy show," and people boo. They'd be like, "I don't even want this," and you're making people who didn't even want a show kind of try to enjoy a show. I went in there one night and I asked this guy, I go, "How you doing?" And he goes, "I'm great." And you go, "What the fuck, man?" Like, I know we're all trying to we're all trying to be positive about this whole deal, but look where we are. You're not the great that you're trying to say that you are. We're
Right.
fine. We're fine, man. We're in this fucking thing. We're going to fight these goddamn people, but it's not, what is this? Carnegie Hall? Is this fucking, no, this is a bar fight with people who didn't want a show. Imagine like if you were an accountant and you walked into somebody's house and
Right.
just started counting things. And you'd have to do that so well to get them to go, "Oh, this is actually not an intrusion.
Right.
This guy is good."
Yeah. Yeah. It's stand up is the most it's the most like abusive to the performer and to the audience at the same time. Where they go, we will put you both through something excruciating.
Yeah.
No one here is gonna like this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You didn't want it, and we have to do it at some of the awful shows. And you go, here it is. There's also, maybe this is a dumb thing. Also noticed over the last few years, every comedian in a lot of places gets told good job. Do you notice that?
Oh yeah. Yeah.
That didn't used to be that way. I remember coming
No.
off of a stage years ago, one that host, but other comedians too, even friends. You'd come off stage and you knew it was bad. We know what feels bad. But you'd come off and people would go, "Jesus." And you're like, "I know, man, that was fucking miserable." That
Right.
never happens anymore. Everybody that comes off, whether they have fries thrown at them or fucking a standing ovation, it's all good jobs
Yeah.
all around. And people
Hey,
just
good set. Yeah. Yeah, right. Yeah.
like even people that are they were just stabbed. Somebody in the crowd stood up and stabbed them and said, "I hate what you're doing. I hate it." They'll come off stage and somebody will go, "Good job," and they'll just accept that. They'll go, "Oh, I guess it was a good job." Bleeding. They have
Right.
holes in their chest. They're bleeding, and they'll be like, I guess it wasn't so bad. You were stabbed."
Right. Well, I think what you're describing is the like I think every comic has to be delusional to do this, and delusional in the sense that like I think I'm going to make it because that's why I keep doing it. But there's just like a little one tick over on the gauge where some people do fall. It's like miles away from where you're at and where other comics are at, where they go, "Oh, I am doing it and I'm always good at this." And I don't think it's far. I don't think I think if the wind blows the right way, certain people that are very rooted in stand up could be blown in that direction. I don't, but
Mhm.
the people that are on that side of the line, they are so off in their own universe of like, I killed, it was great. I'm great. Of course I should be doing this,
Mhm.
it's
I
wild.
feel, and maybe I'm crazy, I feel over the last few years, and anytime you say a sentence like that, the sentence I just said makes me sound like Matlock, like just old as fuck. No matter what you say, if you mention years, if you bring up, you say the word years, you're an old, cripplingly depressed, fucking broken man, right? But over the last few years, I'd say that's 95% of comedians.
Right. Yeah.
Most people, like everybody, again, you were just stabbed.
Right.
Everybody knows it was bad. It's fine. Everybody has bad sets, but good job. And then, yeah. Nobody. I just whatever. Yeah, I can't say it again. But I mean,
There
there's
was
so much more of that.
there was a guy when I started who was sort of like we would call him like an open mic killer, where he would go to open mics where there was a lot of new comics and do, just prepared his A material, and all the
Mhm.
open micers would go, "This guy is incredible." So the one time I just happened to be on a show with him, and he gets up there and he goes, "Give it up if you're a teacher. Where's all my teachers at?" And they clap. He's like, "Give it up if you hate the kids you teach." People clap. He's like, "And now give it up if you like your students." And they start clapping. And he's like, "All right, now give it up if you're dating. Clap if you're dating. Who's your dating, right? Make some noise if you love the person you're sitting next to right now, huh? You love." And then after he comes off and he goes, "Did you see it? I killed. They couldn't stop clapping." It was like, you can't explain to that guy what's wrong.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
it's a different language. It's a different language. You know,
That's
but
funny though. Just
yeah,
a 45-minute set. Who likes stuff? You guys like stuff?
right, yeah,
Troops, women are the best. All that time. Men are stupid, like everything.
right.
Just for 45 straight minutes, standing ovation at the end. Good night, everybody. Never says a goddamn thing.
Right. Yeah. I really love it's still to this day we get the does anybody here smoke weed? It's like, do you know what year it is? Like it'd be better if like, does anybody here still do PCP? That would be a better question.
Yeah. Does anybody still do PCP? Does anybody remember Emilio Estevez? There's lots of other things you could say as opposed to does anybody smoke weed?
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
One of my favorite lines. Um, all right. So you start in Toronto and then you come to the United States. Um, do you remember your first time really feeling like, was there a weird transition period when you came here? And do you remember the first time when you started to feel like, oh, I'm making it happen here? Like the growing pains of moving here are over.
When I first got here, everybody told me that the first year or two would be miserable. Like
Mhm.
everybody who had already been here for a while, and they were. I'd say probably after a year and a half or 2 years was when it finally started to be like, okay, some little things are happening, but yeah, that first year, man, I remember this is not a thing that Canada does at all in terms of. I think it's only what New York does actually. People pay to do open mics.
Right.
I think that's only in New York, where you pay
Yes.
$5 to talk to a group of criminals. I mean, it could be anybody, comedians, fucking anybody, just monsters. Um, I went to one of these one time, like I think my first 2 weeks in the city because I just went, I just looked up stuff. I didn't know good, bad, whatever, and I just went. So I went to this one place. It was in a church basement, and
Mhm.
I get down there, and it's just two guys and me. I'm sitting at a table, and we're all kind of talking. And then a woman comes out somewhere, and she goes, "Okay, we're gonna start the open mic. It's $3." And these guys reach for their wallets, and I go, "Wait a second." I go, we're paying to go stand over there to talk to each other?" And she goes, "Yeah, it's $3." I go, "Well, we already did that. I already talked to these guys. Why would I go, I'm just gonna go." And she snapped. She was like, "You're not gonna do the mic? You're not gonna pay to do the mic?" And then she goes, "Well, you can do it for free then." I go, "Well, now it's just weird." So I slowly backed out of a church basement while all of these people were looking at me like I was completely insane. But yeah, I don't know. Then I just wrote that one off the list of like never ever go back to this show again.
Right. Yeah. New York is fascinating because I remember when I moved here, like people said like, the open mics are bad, just don't get caught up in them. And I just figured, well, every open mic is bad. And then you would go, and I was shocked when I first started going to open mics that there were no real audience members at any of them,
Hmm.
because I came from a town, and I think a lot of places other than maybe New York and LA, maybe Chicago, where you go to an open mic and there are real people there. Like sometimes there's like 40, 50 people at open mics. And that was shocking to me that
Hmm.
no one was going to these. And that took a while of getting over of like, so I'm just gonna say it to all these psychopaths,
Yeah,
like, or like who are
it makes
also
sense that
waiting to
nobody
say
goes
their
to these.
thing.
Once you see them, you go. First of all, they're at fucking like 2:30 in the afternoon
Right. Yeah.
for literal criminals, and you go, why would anybody sit through this? None of the comedians want to be here. This is hell. They should really. People who have like petty crimes should be forced to do New York open mics for 2 weeks. You would never again in your life steal a fucking coat, or like you wouldn't, or you just find yourself on a career path and you're one of the greatest comedians of all time. But 9.5 out of 10 people would go, oh my God, I will never again steal or do punch or whatever, you know?
Right. Right. Only I don't know if you've seen this yet, but you go to a show or whatever it is, and there's usually a group of like 12, maybe 14 guys, and you go, "What are you guys doing here?" And they're like, "Oh, our buddy lost our fantasy football league and he's going to
Oh,
do the open mic." And
yeah.
what other profession is the punishment for losing a contest to do that job? Like if
Hmm.
you lost a race and they were like, okay, now you got to job shadow a plumber for the day. Like that's
Yeah.
only this profession. People are like, what's the worst thing we could make this person do? I know, stand-up comedy.
Stand
That would
up
be the
comedy.
worst. Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah, and it is. Again, nobody would do it. Nobody would do it if you didn't really want to do it. It's hell. The open mics in New York are, yeah, nobody can really tell you how bad they are either. You really have to see it for yourself. People can
Yeah,
tell
right.
you they're bad, and you go, yeah, exactly what you said. You're like, oh, whatever. And then you go and you go, wow, wow. It's got to
Yeah.
feel almost the way that, like, I can't remember their exact, what the, like, homicide detectives feel when they walk into an apartment, walls are covered in blood, and like, somebody's ripped in half. It's got to feel that whatever their feeling is when they go in and see this scene, this crime scene that they have to break down. That's what walking into a New York open mic is
Right.
like.
Right.
Hell.
Right. And then cut to 20 years later, the same detective is on the job. He walks in, he sees the entrails splattered across the wall, gunshot wound to the head, and he goes, does anybody have coffee? Like it's just like
Doesn't care. Yeah.
totally unfazed,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Let's I feel like people think, if you're not a comic, people think that being heckled, it happens all the time. Where it's just like that's always the question. It's like, do you ever get heckled? And I think it doesn't happen as much as people think, but in your career, has anyone said anything to you that's ever been like, oh, you got me good, you know?
Every once in a while, somebody says something that's really funny.
Mm-hmm.
Um, got me to the point of what? Got me to the point of like I could not continue on with what I was doing.
Well, got you in the sense of like, maybe this is just me, which I might have to look inward, but like I've been on stage and you're not doing well, and somebody just goes along the lines of like stop, just stop doing this, or like that's bad, like not even like you're not funny, it's like that's bad, and you go in your head, you're like, they nailed it, like this is bad right now and I have to keep going, but like they 100% nailed it.
I did I did do a show once in Times Square, and I was not doing well at all. I knew this; it was bad. A guy booed, like quietly. He was just like boo, and then I go, Are you? Is somebody booing?" And then there's like a pause, and I just hear boo, and I'm like, "Hey, man!" Whatever. I had just come back from a weekend of stuff. I shouldn't have even done this show. I was tired as hell. All of these excuses to say I had nothing for this fucking nothing. So I go, man, you're booing. Fuck, dude. I don't like. I just had nothing.
Right.
Um. Anyways, I leave this place, and this guy comes up to me outside, and he goes, "Man, I'm sorry about that." I go, "That's cool, man. It is what it is." He goes, "But you were fucking terrible." I went, and then left this place.
Oh
So I
my
guess that was the
God.
worst one.
Because it followed you outside. Like,
Yeah.
that's horrible.
Really funny kind of on his part, like the old bait and switch type, like, dude, I apologize, beat, but you were horrible. I
Right.
mean,
Yeah.
man. Yeah, that guy, fuck. But I was terrible. I really was terrible that evening. I remember it was brutal. I didn't want to be there, didn't really want to do it. It was completely my fault. But yeah, I guess that wasn't one that I recovered well from at all. This guy lightly booing, but loud enough that everybody could hear. Did
Right.
not recover from this.
What shakes you out of that? What do you do that gets you out of that after that bad show mindset that sort of, all right, I'm back to square one. I can do this again.
I don't know. I don't know. Every once in a while I think I go, I don't know if I love comedy or hate myself. I can't. It gets harder to figure out all the time. I'm like, do I actually like doing this or do I just hate me? So
Right.
I'm ready to go back in front of people and be judged by them, or do I like making people laugh with ideas? I don't know.
Yeah. But
I
you
think both are true,
obviously
really.
you have you whatever it is that has to happen must happen all the time because you're always getting back up. I mean, you just the fact that we're doing this podcast means you're still doing comedy. You know what I mean? And that
Mhm.
you do comedy means you're doing comedy. So it's like it must be happening in your head where you go, well, we'll just and whatever it is, a day, 2 days, an hour until your next set, you go, I guess we're just back. We're just back to doing this.
Yeah, I think I made the decision a long time ago. It just is what it is, man. I knew it was going to be bad. It's not all bad by any stretch, but I mean,
Right.
I knew there was going to be bad times. But that'd be the same with anything. Any job you have, there's going to be bad shifts. I sort
Right.
of just look at that as like a bad shift. It might be a long shift, might be 45 minutes to an hour at some college and it's brutal, or it might be 10 minutes, but I mean, they can't all go right. They cannot all go right.
That's a great way of looking at stand up as a whole, of going, well, that show is a shift in my career, my workday of stand up, where I think I know for myself, and I think for other comics, we look at every show as almost like sometimes these life or death situations where you
Yeah.
go, if I don't do well, I don't know what's going to happen,
Hmm.
and that's just an insane way to look at something. Anything you do over and over and over again, you're going to have bad things, bad shifts, like you said.
Yeah, I used to kind of look at it, and I guess sometimes I fall into that again. But I used to look at every kind of set as life and death, and it just fucking brutal way to live, man. It's
Yeah.
hell. Did you ever see
Right.
that video of Chappelle being booed in Hartford?
Oh, yeah, of course.
You see that, right? And
Right.
this guy couldn't really be better at comedy. He's already at that point unbelievably famous. He walks out. I don't know how many thousands of people that was. Boo him, and you go, "Oh man, no, nobody's above this.
Right.
Nobody
Right.
is above having a bad set. So what the fuck? You don't want to do it consistently. If you're not doing it consistently, then you're probably okay. But I mean, they're gonna happen. This is a random group of people with their own goddamn problems. How the
Right.
hell can this go right all the time? How in the fuck can getting people to make one noise, not two, not three, one? How can this go well every time out there? And if it does, you're doing what that fucking guy did with the give it up for eyebrows. Who doesn't like chips? Man, tits are cool. Am I right? Like whatever the hell that is.
Yeah. Yeah, you're pandering is what you're doing. You're just pandering, you
Yeah.
know. What do you at what point do you go, all right, I have to go up there and not pander, but where you go, I have to go up there and I have to stick my neck out here a little bit. Either I'm working on new stuff or you're trying, to reorder some things. And you just sort of know it's not going to be as good as it could be if I just go up there and give them the hits. How do you make that call? And when do you feel comfortable that goes, I'm just accepting it. I'm accepting that it's not going to be as good as if I went up there and just tried to kill, you know?
I guess you just kind of have to do that.
Yeah.
There's no real way around it. You can't always go up and try to do like your best stuff all the time. You just have to, again, you got to feel bad sometimes. I
Right.
mean, there's no real way around that. It just has to be.
Yeah. Yeah. And it does seem, it's funny talking to you. I don't know if you see it, but to me, it's almost like a very like Zen place that you seem to be at, of like, this has to be bad and it has to be good. And it is what it is. You know, it's
Hmm.
like in The Irishman where they're like, it is what it is, you know, or it's what it is. He goes, Joe Pesci's, it's what it is. It's like, that's what that seems to be like how you live this now, as it's what it is.
I mean, right now I feel that way.
Yeah, right. Yeah, exactly
I'm
right.
sure tomorrow it'll be different. But I mean, when you think about it, and after doing so many sets, you just go, well, what the fuck else is there? And I mean, um, doing it long enough at this point that if something does go bad, I can make some reference to it or have something else that will go well, But I mean, yeah, it's how the hell can this go right all the time? How? Like how? For who?
Right. Yeah. That's a brutal way to live. Like you said, it really is.
Yeah.
Just if this doesn't go right every single time, I'm failing, that's
Yes.
insane. Yeah. You, so the times that have gone wrong, we've talked about, obviously times have gone right from you. The, the mug that you're drinking out of, you know what I mean? Like,
Hmm.
you know, there has to be some right times. The mug that you're drinking out of, the Tonight Show, you're at the cellar, you've been on TV, you have these moments that go, well, this is why I do this, for however long that feeling lasts of like, I got this, that pays off for all those other times. Have you ever had a moment though that you thought this was going to be it? This was going to be my Tonight Show or my first time at the cellar or my first TV appearance, and it doesn't go well. And you go, well, I'm done. Like, this was supposed to be my moment. It didn't happen. Obviously, it's okay because you're still
Hmm.
here doing it. But have you ever had any sort of those big moments where you put everything out there, you think all my chips are in and this has to go well, and it doesn't?
Uh, yeah. I mean, I did a show at Just for Laughs years ago, and it was taped for TV, and it's in front of like I don't know 500-600 people or something like that, and it was hosted by Broad City,
Mm-hmm.
um, both of them, and so I'm in the back, like just nervous as fuck. I'm on first, I think, and I'm just in my head or whatever. So they have two mics out on stage with them, obviously. And then they go, hey guys, give it up for Nathan Macintosh. And I start to walk out, and somebody grabs me, one of the producers or something, and she goes, no, you have to wait until we clean the stage, which meant that we're going to take two mics down and put up another mic. So I watched Broad City come off stage. They walked past me, and I was like, good job. And they were like, thanks. And they were like, what's that? And I go, I have to wait. And I swear to you, I waited. I mean, it felt like 10 minutes.
Right.
I'm sure it was 30 seconds. But there was 30 seconds between when my name was said and when I walked out there. As if I decided I was going to big dog it. I'm Prince. You'll wait for me. But I'm standing in the
Oh
back like
my
I'd
God.
like to go, but I can't go. Then the woman hits me. I go out to nothing. They've already cheered, they've already clapped, and now it's died down. And they're like, who's this fucking psycho? So I had to walk out and be like, hey. And they kind of whatever. And I was just so in my head. I don't think it didn't go great. That's really what I can say. And I left
Right.
there being like, well, fuck, if there was any kind of agent, manager, whatever, this place is never going to have me back. That's fucking done. Over.
Right.
And I have gone
Right.
back since. But yeah,
Yeah.
it's not
And
the end of the world.
how long did it take you to get out of that, do you think?
Oh, man. I really think that night, I went to my hotel room and didn't talk to anybody. There was, yeah, now I'm thinking of it. There was a party happening beside my room, and I could hear friends of mine in the party. And I was like, just get out of bed, man. Just go over there. And I go, but I can't though. It was so bad that I can't let people see me. So it's at least a night.
Right.
And then the
Right.
next day, you got to go out there again. But I mean, that night for sure, I just went, that's the end of that. And that show was at 7. So I went back to my room by 8. And I'm
Right.
just in my room like, well, that's the end of this. And then there's a giant party and everybody's having such a great time. They're blowing each other. You can hear like people having a great time. And I'm sitting in my room sadly like a fucking idiot. If I could go back now, just go to the nobody cares, man. Nobody fucking cares. Go to the thing.
Yeah. No one's gonna know, you know?
Yeah.
What it's crazy though, actually. It couldn't be a worse place to be when you're feeling that bad about like not even your job, but like your passion than a hotel room. And that is where comedians find themselves a lot
Mm-hmm.
alone, just in a hotel room with a lot of time left on their hands to either come down from excitement or to just be in some sort of like depressed state.
Mm-hmm.
There's got to be a better place to go than a hotel room.
Sure. You can go to. I guess there's got to be somebody out there giving free hugs
Right.
in like some sort of town square.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Heroin.
Right.
Heroin.
Right. Clubs should not allow comics. If you're on the road and you have a bad set, the club should say, before you go to your hotel room, we're going to take you to a toy store. And you get to walk around for a half hour. You get to take one thing, and then you get to go back to your hotel room.
For me personally, that would make me so much more sad.
Oh, really?
Absolutely. At this point in time, I'm a grown man who pays tax. A toy
Right.
is not going to help me. Like a He-Man action figure or some kind of fucking. I would be so miserable. Something they should just be like, look, we're just not going to let you be by yourself. We're going to
Right.
send a kitchen staff member to just come hang out, man. We're bringing a PlayStation over. You guys are going to play Madden.
What a horrible, like when you like apply to this club and you're like, yeah, we need you to like run food. And you're like, I can run food. And then like one day they come over and you're like, hey, are you ready to go to Nathan's room? And you're like, what's up?
Yeah.
Like,
Did you bring your PS4?
yeah. They're like, oh yeah, part of your job is if the show goes bad, you have to spend a couple hours with the comics in their hotel room. It's like, man, I'm
That
making
doesn't seem so
minimum
bad.
wage.
That seems like it'll be okay.
Oh my god. All right, so if it's not a toy store, if it is a PlayStation, like what is okay, and it could be the same answer for both post-show reward and post-show sort of vice, that if you succeed, what do you do that's sort of like celebratory to treat yourself? And if you don't do as well as you want to, what is there something you go and do immediately or eat or drink that sort of picks you back up?
It's sad, but it's only been only after the pandemic, I'll say actually, have I started to go, you know what? I should, if something goes well, I should go like celebrate that with whatever it is, some small thing, you know? It's only been now. Before that I never did. Before
Mm-hmm.
I would just go, yeah, okay, cool, it went well. Now I got to think about whatever the hell the next kind of thing is. As far as bad, man, I don't know. I think I just anytime that's things have been like bad, and I just don't want to be seen, looked at. I just go into a room and get under a blanket and just wait for death.
It hasn't come yet though. So
But there has been no. I mean, maybe I would get like I don't know some kind of junk food or something, but mostly it is just I will get away from all people,
yeah.
and that's not
Yeah.
good.
No, I think it's the opposite of what you
Yes, I
should.
think it's
Yeah.
bad.
Right?
I think it's a bad thing to do.
Yeah, that'd be bad. I can't thank you enough for doing this, for your time. Tell people where they can find you, where they can see you, where they can hear you.
Um, YouTube. I got a YouTube channel, Twitter and Instagram, and TikTok. I guess at NathanMacintosh.com. I mean, Nathan Macintosh. I also have a website called nathanmacintosh.com. All of those places.
All right. Right on, man. Well, thanks for doing this.
Thanks for having me, man.
Yeah.